Hey guys, glad you stopped by, as always. Today, cooking dinner, and we are going to do a dish that is it's a classic Southern dish, and as regional as it is in flavor and stuff like that, it's not. It's nothing like gumbo or jambalaya at any rate, and that's red beans and rice. You know, I was talking to our friend Donna here on the channel, and she was like, yeah, about her red beans and rice being kind of bland, and you know, wanted to know if we could try to find something that was a little more flavorful, and I think I found one for her. You know, well, we'll see. I have never made red beans and rice from scratch, but this particular recipe seems to have all the classic red bean and rice that they would have, flavors that they would have down south, and I thought, what the heck, let's give this a try. You know, I mean, it's got Creole seasoning in it, it's got andouille sausage, it's got red beans, of course, and you know, it just all kinds of different flavors. It's got the Trinity in it, you know, the green peppers, the celery, and the onion. I think this is going to be an amazing thing. It's got so many cool spices in it, and most of these spices you probably have in your cabinet, which is a good thing. So we're going to give this a shot at any rate, and we're going to make it old school. We're going to soak our beans, do an overnight method, which with an overnight method that's 6 to 8 hours minimum. You know, because overnight means, and if you watch my cheesecake videos, you already know this, overnight is 8 hours, you know, because you get 8 hours of sleep or overnight. So we're going to go ahead and soak our red beans for 8 hours. Now, and then after that, we can get started making this. This is not a quick meal. It's not a slow meal. There's a lot of downtime, right? Because now we have the 6 to 8 hours for the beans to soak. We've got, this is going to sit on the stovetop for a couple hours, you know, so you'll have time to go do other things while this is cooking. You know, it's like slow cooker, only not with the slow cooker. So anyhow, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Hope you get something out of this video. Check out some of my other videos. If you're returning or one of my new subscribers, thank you and welcome back. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comments, always welcome. All I ever ask is you be polite. It's okay to disagree, me or anybody in the comments. Just be polite about it. Think before you type. And that's it. So, that being said, while we head on down here to the counter, and we can get started on, I'll show you how to soak beans. You know, basically, it's not hard, it's an easy process. Hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, we are down here at the counter. So the things you will need to make this with, other than a sharp knife to do some prep work, it's just a standard Dutch oven or a stock pot. You know, you want a bigger pot. So the first thing we gotta do is soak our beans. Now, here are red beans, and it is my understanding kidney beans are also acceptable, but red beans are traditional. Obviously, it's red beans over rice. But what you want to do is you want to go through and pick out any broken ones, or bad ones, or rocks. Now, I don't know how well you can see that, but that one's a little withered. It's not in real good shape, so that's something you wouldn't want to use. You'd want to pick that out. You want your beans to look good. They should have a nice shine to them, you know, smooth. You want to get out any broken ones, halved, things like that. So once you got that done, matter of fact, there's a half of one right there I missed. So you don't want anything that looks like that, broken or beat up, or, you know, or a half bean, so to speak. Yeah, so once you get all that out, I've got 8 cups of water. This is 1 pound of red beans. And all we're gonna do is, and it's cold water. You want cold water, not hot water. We're gonna put those in there, and we're simply gonna let this soak with the lid on it for 6 to 8 hours. What that does is, it does a couple things. A, it softens the beans a little. And that's important, right? Is to get the beans softened. The other thing it does is it makes them easier to digest. If you don't soak your beans, you can also quick soak these like we did with the chili beans we canned this past weekend. You know, we can put them in here, bring it up to a rapid boil after we've gone through them and washed them and rinsed them. Just follow the back of the package. It's pretty much all the same, but you would bring this into a rapid boil for 2 minutes and then let them sit for an hour. No different than when we did the pinto beans for canning. But we're going to do this old school because I've got things I got to do today and I want these to be right. But like I said, soaking these, is important. Whether you quick soak it or do it like we're doing now, an overnight method, because it helps with being able to digest them and it gives them a head start on cooking. So when I come back, we can go ahead and start making our beans. All right, be right back. Okay, so we have soaked our beans right there. We did them for about 7.5 hours, 7 hours at any rate. Meanwhile, I was outside in this 90+ degree humidity that has just been miserable. Sweating my butt off, losing like 30 pounds. At least it felt that way, but that's all right. We got our beans soaked, so I went ahead and drained them and rinsed them off. Once again, per the instructions on the bag. But I'm finding the more I use uncooked beans, which I use them fairly often, the instructions are all the same. Really, I mean, a bean seems to be a bean is a bean. But I've got those rinsed and drained and set aside. So the next thing we need to do now is in our stock pot, we're going to put a tablespoon of olive oil, just like such, and then 1 tablespoon of butter. And we're going to get this heating up, and once that butter melts, we're going to go ahead and cook our sausage. Alright, so butter's melted, starting to bubble. So in the pot, I'm going to put 1 pound of andouille sausage. Alright, and I went ahead and I sliced up about 1/2 inch thick slices and I cut them on an angle. Alright, so see how they've got that little angle cut to them. And this is, like I said, per the instructions of the recipe I found. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to brown both sides. This is going to take about 10 minutes. Okay, so we got our sausage nice and browned, both sides. And it didn't take probably about 10 minutes, about 5 minutes. We're cooking on a medium heat, not even a medium high. So the next thing we're going to add is our vegetables. We're going to add our trinity to it, which is going to be 2 cups of yellow onion right there, which is about 2 medium onions. We're going to add that in. We're going to add in 1 large green pepper, and these are chopped. All right, and it's about 1 cup of green pepper. And then we are going to add, where'd it go? There it is. 2 stalks worth or a 1/2 cup of celery. And in the South, that's considered the holy trinity of food. It's got, there's a ton of meals that have that in it. To this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of butter. All right, so you're going to need 4 tablespoons total for this, or 1/2 stick. And then we're going to add in another half a tablespoon of olive oil to this. And then we're going to let this cook for about 4 or 5 minutes until our onions are softened, lightly and browned, and everything is basically sauteed. All right, so we are soft and got good color. And one thing I did forget to mention, I'll show you this here real quick, was the butter I am using is salted. But oh, you can see that or not? Yeah. But we got good color. Now you're thinking to yourself, Brian, that's like beat up. Well, it is. But that's because we had all that goodness on the bottom of it from the sausage that lifted up when we added more butter and oil. We want that. We're basically layering flavors, which is going to be amazing. But our onions are soft, everything's softened, and we got good color to them. So now we're going to add, it's an equivalent of a 1/4 cup of minced garlic or pressed garlic in my case, and it's about 6 to 7 cloves of garlic. I used 6 large cloves, and it got me a 1/4 cup. But what I was saying was, and I didn't mention it, the butter we're using is salted. If you don't have salted butter, because I don't normally have salted butter, just add a 1/2 to 3/4 teaspoon of salt to this, a good heavy pinch. Will do it, but you want that salt to help draw out the flavors of the vegetables. that's important to get that in there. So now we got our garlic in there, and we're just gonna let this cook those fragrance about 30 seconds to a minute. All right, so we've been about a minute. I can smell the garlic. The kitchen smells wonderful. So the next things we need to add to this is some of our spices. So we've got some black pepper here, and it's 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper. We've got 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. We've got 1 1.75 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning. And then I have got 3/4 of a tablespoon of dried thyme. Now the original recipe called for fresh thyme, and I don't have any. I mean, I guess I could have gone out and picked some out of the garden, but I didn't think about it until just now. So I just went ahead and used dry. If you're using dry spices instead of fresh, which you can do that, you want to cut the amount in half. Dried spices have concentrated that flavor, so you'll get double the flavor if you use the exact amount listed for a fresh spice. So go ahead and cut that in half, and then we're just going to let this cook for about another minute, and then we can move on to add more stuff in. All right, so we have got that cooked, and we put our spices in there ahead of time instead of adding them in when we add in all our liquids to activate them. A lot of the spices, when you use them, they need that oil and the heat in order to activate them and bring out their full flavors. So now that we've got that done, we can go ahead, we're going to add our sausage back in, just like such. We are going to put our beans in, which is that 1 pound of red beans that we've been letting soak. Then we are going to add to this, as soon as I make some room, 2 cups of chicken stock. And we're going to do 5 cups of water, which there's 2. I didn't feel like breaking out the big measuring cup. It's literally on a top shelf, like 8 foot high, all the way in the back. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to get, so it's just easier to use 2 cup measuring cup and do it that way. So we get our 5 cups in there, just like such. Ooh, that's going to cut it close on the 6 quart. And then we've got 2 ingredients left to put in there. And I know the one for sure, I mean, not only is that andouille sausage going to just bring out tons of flavor. It's one of my favorite sausages. But I've got a ham hock here. We're going to throw that bad boy in there. And then I'm going to put in 3 bay leaves. We're going to put that in there. What we're going to do now is put our lid on this as soon as I remember what I did with it. There it is. Put our lid on this. We're going to bring it up to a boil. I'm not going to put my lid completely over it though. I'm going to leave it just a little bit cracked. I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Once it starts to boil, I'm going to bring it down to a simmer. I am going to let this simmer for about 2.5 hours until those beans are completely softened. So when I come back, we will take a look at where we're at and do the last couple steps. All right, I'll see you here in a second. Okay, so we're about at the hour and 45 minute mark of our 2 to 2.5 hours, and I've been stirring it up about every 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes or so as I walk by or whatever. And my beans are now soft, right? I can grab them and squeeze them, see? So what we need to do now is 2 things. I've pulled the ham hock out, and I have got 1 cup of the beans in here. I don't have any of the sausage in there. There is some of the green peppers, celery, and onion in there, and I want to get this mashed up real quick, just this cup worth. Okay, so I've got that mashed up. We pretty much made refried beans out of our black beans. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go ahead and put it back in my red beans mix real quick, and then get this just a quick stir in. We're still simmering. I've got it on low, just giving it a light simmer at this point. But what those beans are going to do that we mashed is it's going to thicken it up. So then the next thing we need to do is put our lid back on. Turn that up just a hair. is take care of our ham hock. Now, what we want to go ahead and get rid of the skin and the fat that are on here. And the bone. We just want the meat that's on here. We're gonna get this trimmed off and then put our meat back in the beans. Okay, so we got the fat trimmed off and the skin, and there's the bone. So what we'll do is we'll take this meat and we're gonna throw it back in the pot. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we don't necessarily need the fat. We put that whole thing in there to begin with, just to get that flavor in there, right? Just to give it that. I'm here to tell you, if you've never had ham hock, it adds so much to any bean dish. Really, it's pretty much. I have one other dish that I put it in that's not beans, but I don't remember offhand what it is. But it's absolutely just. It has so much flavor, hands down. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to let this cook down for about another half hour, and that way it'll give those beans we mashed up and that ham hock time to finish falling apart. We'll be able to put this bad boy over rice and give her a try. I think it's going to be tender and delicious, because I may or may not have gotten a little bit on my hands while I was cutting up that ham, but we will give it all together one good shot. So I'll see you here in just a second and we'll give this a try. All right, hold on for me one moment. All right, guys, here we are in all its infinite glory. So the only thing we have to do now before we eat, I know it seems like there's always one more thing to do, is just reach in here real quick and take out these bay leaves. So the bay leaves you definitely don't want in there, but I'm here to tell you, this smells fantastic. It looks absolutely amazing. I am just stoked to give this a try. So now we can go ahead and get us some served here. Let me grab some rice real quick to put in here. Now, I've cooked rice a million times, but for whatever reason, plain long grain white rice, I always end up making it sticky, and I'm not sure why, but I do. That's okay. It's going to taste good all the same. I am a Basmati rice guy for the most part, but I thought, we'll try white rice. That's what the recipe called for. So that's what I did, and of course it failed me as always. That's all right. That's all right. Okay. Wow. That just. I wish you guys could be here to smell this. I wish you guys were here to taste it too. But times being what they are, I understand. But there is our lovely bowl. Although you can't see the rice, but that's okay. That's okay. Okay. So now we can give this bad boy a try. See what we got ourselves into, so to speak. Like I said, though, I got a little bit of the sauce of it, the gravy of it, on my fingers a little bit ago, and holy cow, it was good. But now we're gonna try it with the beans, the andouille sausage, and just and the rice. My mouth is watering. We'll see what we did. Other than the fact that it's still piping hot, even though I let it sit there for 10 minutes and cool, that is really good. It has plenty of flavor. I mean, you can taste everything. Now, it does have a bit of a kick to it. So, if your spice level isn't spicy, I would back off the cayenne pepper. Maybe put an eighth of a teaspoon in instead of a quarter, because the andouille sausage is spicy in and of it. It can have a kick in and of itself, especially if you buy a good sausage. But I like a kick. I like heat, so that's right up my alley. But this is absolutely amazing. I'll be making this again for sure. Hands down. Now, if you notice that got thick, if you want yours a little thinner, hold on a second for me. I got you up too high. It's making me crazy. If you don't want yours this thick, go ahead and take an additional cup of water and put her in there. I'll probably end up doing that before I take it over and serve. I'll probably put a half a cup in there at any rate. But give this a try. You will not be disappointed. That is a good, solid, warm your belly and soul, invite your friends over for a good meal. You can serve this with cornbread on the side, or you can serve this as a side dish, for that matter. But I think this would make an amazing meal in itself. You can serve this, have cornbread, have some greens on the side. I personally love mustard greens. Collard greens are okay too. I'm not a fan of turnip. That's really about it, but mustard greens are hands down my favorite. But that would be good with this. There is a million little things that would go good with this. So if you do try this, let me know. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I know you won't be disappointed with it, and you'll want to make it again and again. So if you give this a try, let me know. And like I said, you won't be disappointed. Or if you have something you do a little differently, let me know. I would love to know. I'm still very new to true Southern cooking, so in and of itself, I've only done a handful of dishes, and I would be curious to hear what you do. But all the same, tomorrow for dessert, I have a pie idea in my head that I really want to try. It's called a Bob and Andy pie, and it's a type of custard pie. And I'm trying to remember the story on it, but it's basically named after two horses. And it's a really cute farmer story, is how it came to be. But somebody had recommended it, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but I'll remember it when I make the video. Had recommended it based on another pie I had done. Anyhow, that being said, that might be it, or I don't know. I never know until I wake up in the morning and go, oh, that sounds amazing, let's do that. So I'm gonna get this over to the table, add a little water to it, get it over the table so we can all eat. And until tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. Either way it goes, it's gonna make them smile and make them feel good. It's gonna make you feel good to tell them, probably make you smile too. And if you make them some of this red beans over rice, I guarantee they're gonna smile. It's gonna lead to hours of conversation, and you will have enough there to, once again, guy walking the dog, family of three walking down the street. You could probably even put some in a little to-go container and give it to the mailman, and you are gonna make friends. I guarantee it. So till tomorrow for dessert, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right, bye.